Hey guys, so for this video, I'm going to give an updated guide on Kovacs Aim Trainer, which I and most pro players believe to be the best aim training for Fortnite. About 8 months ago, I made a very similar video walking through how you can set up Kovacs and what the best settings are. Since then, a lot has changed, and I've been getting a ton of messages from people saying they're having problems now, or just telling me to update it with what drills to use. You guys know me, I'm a man of the people, so that's exactly what I'm going to do today. Before we start though, I'm going to throw some timestamps up on the screen for each separate section of the video. There's going to be a ton of information in this video, so be sure to watch the whole thing through in case you have any questions. With that being said, let's start with a quick synopsis of what Kovacs is, where you can get it, and why professional aim training coaches recommend it over every other aim trainer. Kovacs FPS Aim Trainer is available on the Steam store for $10. No, this is not an ad. Unfortunately, Papagerian is not sponsored. But after using Kovacs myself for months, I will always honestly recommend it. I first started using Kovacs in either December or January of last year. This was about 4 or 5 months after I had switched to PC, meaning I was a little above average at Fortnite. The one thing that I was not above average at though was my aim. Because I had never played any video games on keyboard and mouse, my aim was atrocious. I knew that it was holding me back, especially my tracking aim, so I decided to make the purchase and download Kovacs. For about 3 weeks in a row, I grinded 30 minutes of ascended tracking, both before and after I played Fortnite. This not only allowed me to double and triple my Kovacs scores, but also took my Fortnite aim to a completely different level. That's just my personal experience with Kovacs, and why I still use it. I'm by no means a pro Fortnite player or a top aimer in the world, but I do think my opinion carries some weight. For those of you who are still not sold on it, take it from one of the most renowned aim coaches in the world, Aimer7. He has worked with NRG8, CLG SOM, and a ton of other Fortnite pros to make their aim elite. We'll be looking at a guide he personally made for Fortnite, including different practice drills and routines. The last thing I wanted to mention and to answer was whether Kovacs is better than the Fortnite creative aim trainers. I agree with Aimer7 in that I think Kovacs is better for improving your core, fundamental aim, while the creative aim trainers are better for controlling weapon recoil and getting a feel for Fortnite's mechanics. So if you're looking for the best and most proven way to improve your Fortnite aim, Kovacs is the way to do it. Alright, now let's set it up. As soon as you load up Kovacs, the first thing you'll want to do is go to weapon options and make sure the hide weapon setting is checked. Then go to video options, put the video mode into full screen and your resolution to whatever you use in Fortnite. I use native, so I'll put in 1920 by 1080. But if you play on a stretch resolution like Mongrel does, just put in 1798 by 1080 or whatever res it is that you play on. The last couple of settings we're going to change are on the main options page, so navigate there. For sensitivity scale, change it to Fortnite slider. You do not need to use Fortnite config like I showed in my other Kovacs guide, so just put your exact sensitivity from Fortnite into Kovacs using the Fortnite slider scale. Be aware that the Fortnite X and Y sense you're putting in is also known as your hipfire sense. This is the sensitivity you use while going for shotgun flicks and for spraying with an SMG or really any automatic gun without aiming in. You also have what's called an ADS sense, which is your hipfire sense multiplied by your Fortnite targeting sense. So because my hipfire sense is 0.120 and my targeting sense is 0.3, my ADS sense equals 0.036. This is the sensitivity I'll use when aiming down sight with a shotgun or an SMG or AR. Don't worry though, I'll make it easy for you guys and I'll tell you what type of sensitivity to use for each drill I cover. The only annoying part is you will have to keep manually changing your sense based on what aim you want to work on. Anyways, the remaining settings we need to switch are a little bit confusing. They are the FOV measurement and overall FOV of Kovacs. What Aimer7 recommends, which is similar to what I just explained to do with your sense, is to switch your FOV depending on what type of drill you're using. For tracking drills where you're ADSing and therefore using your ADS sense, you should use clamped horizontal and 80 FOV. For everything else, like flicks and tracking without aiming down sight, so you're using your hipfire sense, you'll want to use the Overwatch FOV measurement and 103 FOV. Aimer7 explained this pretty in depth on Twitter. It basically comes down to the fact that Fortnite is a third-person shooter and not a first-person shooter, so the camera is not centered on your eyes. This means the further the thing you're looking at, the smaller the difference in the perception / mouse feel between first and third person shooters. This is why Kovacs is extremely good to train mid and long range Fortnite aim, but less for close range. In order to train better for those situations up close, increase the FOV. Hopefully that whole spiel did not bore you to death. Just try to remember, for ADS tracking, use 80 FOV and clamped horizontal. And then for everything else, including hipfire tracking and flicks, use 103 FOV and Overwatch FOV measurement. At last, with everything set up, we can finally talk about routines and drills. For this part, I highly recommend checking out Aimer7's guide and reading it yourself. He includes a bunch of stuff that I just don't have time to cover. The way to read and follow his guide is that he has a bunch of different practice regimens depending on how good your aim is. It starts with complete beginners, then there's intermediate beginners, advanced beginners, sub-intermediate, intermediate, advanced, and then what he calls sub-aim beast. Within each tier, there are a bunch of tracking-oriented drills, click timing or flick-oriented drills, and a complete routine that's a combination of both. Aimer7 even went ahead and color-coded each drill, wrote down how long you should do it for, and a little sentence explaining how to practice with it. He believes after doing each complete routine for 2 weeks, you can move on to the next level, like from intermediate to advanced. Right now, I'm only going to cover 2 complete routines that I think will help the most people, starting with the complete beginner routine. The first drill in this routine is close long strafes. You should be practicing both your ADS and hipfire tracking aim here, meaning you'll need to change your sense and FOV depending on which. Next is 1 wall, 6 targets TE. This is a very simple flick training drill that does kind of look like Tile Frenzy. For any flick training drill, you should be using your hipfire sense. Third in this routine is Fugla XY long strafes. As Aimer7 says, it's very good for improving your precision, and it introduces a little verticality to the mix. Fourth, for complete beginners, is Tile Frenzy Strafing 01. This will teach you effective click timing since the targets are actually moving in this one. Second to last is Vertical Long Strafes, another tracking drill. Lastly is 1 wall, 1 target, which is primarily a test of your reaction time. Like I said before, do all of these drills for 2 weeks and 5 to 10 minutes at a time. You should then go look at the guide and move on to the intermediate beginner routine. I'm gonna jump straight to the intermediate one to finish the video. First in that routine is Close Long Strafes Invincible, a tracking drill where the targets do not get destroyed. Next is Vertical Fast Strafes, another tracking drill to train the quote-unquote reactivity and smoothness of your vertical angles. Third is Tile Frenzy 180 200% tracking. This is a cross between a tracking and a flick aim drill. Fourth is a flick aim drill, 1 wall, 5 target pasu. For the best practice, do not wait for them to pass over your crosshair. Fifth is Ground Plaza Easy, which trains your tracking aim and prepares you very well for the next drill, Vertical Hand Warm-Up. As the name implies, it improves your vertical click timing and flicks. After that, do Target Acquisition Flick Easy, which is obviously a flick drill. Second to last is Ground Plaza, a slight step up from the easy one, and lastly is a drill called Air. This one and the one we did before are both tracking drills. So decide what sense you want to use, adjust your FOV accordingly, and go grind. Do each of these drills for 5 minutes a day for 2 weeks, and trust me, your aim will be cracked. Overall, Kovacs is the best aim trainer for Fortnite. Hopefully this video did help you out. If it did, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and to turn on post notifications. Shout out to everyone using code Jerian. The giveaway is still ongoing. Just go to my Twitter and follow the steps on my pinned tweet. Otherwise, that's it from me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.